As you were talking, you mentioned that as we're in 3D and we draw knowledge and experience from our experience, that we often touch on the fourth and fifth dimension.
Your consciousness.
Yes. When our consciousness. So when we are closer or more steeped in those energies, does our conscious mental awareness also shift into a sort of a different realm of, I would say, like a daydream type of state, where we feel the other potentials around us, and that's where we can make our choice points about where we're experiencing in the now?
There are bleed-throughs, certainly, from what you call the potentials that you can detect. But even further, there is a level of awareness that is developed in your consciousness as you know it in your physical framework, that when it accepts more and more every day the truth of its existence, then it will begin to very naturally and spontaneously begin to stretch itself, you understand, to contemplate the capacity to experience certain events, certain interactions while still in your human form. More and more will become possible, and less will become impossible. And I have explained that each one of you has a psychic aspect to your complex that is able to, on your own, connect with infinite intelligence, to connect with the clarity and the guidance from all that is, from other beings that you describe as high vibration, then guides and teachers and helpers and lovers of humanity who are endeavoring to assist them and to aid humanity in their call for expansion and evolution.
So is that, this in fact feels like where the mind goes when we're in the process of, I'll call it problem solving, or determining alternative realities that we want to choose for ourselves. When we do this, the 3D reality that we're in often wonders where we went. People around us sort of notice that we're often in another place. Is there just sort of a natural understanding that that's where we all go when that happens, and they're just looking on as, oh, they're pondering all of these other things going on? I'm assuming that's what that is. Some people question.
Let me give you a good example of what you are trying to articulate in the human experience. The teacher that you refer to as Christ, yes, clearly had a very evolved level of awareness of who and what he really was, and was moving through his experience from the platform of love, yes, and understood his connection to all that is, although the language was expressed in terms that the people in that time period could relate the information. Do you understand that?
Sure.
And so observe that there have been people who have been very evolved here throughout humanity's history. Some people where they clearly were able to move through and create their life experiences in service to others from a platform of love, but not perfect, yes? But still, in comparison to the rest of the population, they seemed as though they could do magic, or what they called miracles, yes?
Yes, alchemy.
And
right.
Alchemy. And so when one affirms in the morning, I welcome miracles to come into my experience today. What is that really communicating? I welcome my ability to elevate the level of my consciousness at the point of awareness that I am able to deliberately and purposefully unite with myself, where I am in physical form and I can communicate and I can leverage the universe, where I can at the maximum capacity. And this requires a level of uncaring what other people think that most people in your culture would term selfish. But imagine a life where you have evolved the awareness of your consciousness to such a degree that you are able to have normal interactions with those in the fourth dimension, those in the fifth dimension. You understand? Communications then with those in the seventh dimension, while grounded here in this physical life on earth. You are following me?
Yeah. Yes.
Where you have that level of awareness of your mind, body, spirit complex, where to others it seems as though you are doing miracles. But really, what has happened? You have moved and chosen paths. You have created choice points, some challenging, but they allowed you to decide to move down the path of love, to create challenges where you have opportunities to forgive, to create very difficult situations where you now have opportunities to unite. Yes? And as a result of your consistency and your persistence, let us say that you have moved the awareness of your consciousness. You have aligned the mind, body, spirit complex in such a way that you, like the teacher, have learned to create in a moment where those were hungry and you were able to manifest food. You understand? Where those who were sick and wanted assistance with healing, and you were able not only to assist with that healing, but to teach others what you know, which of course is going to open their minds to uniting the intuitive and the rational mind, to harmonizing and coming into alignment with self so that they can understand their power as well. The understanding of the teachers to teach so that others can come into their fullness. You understand?
Sharing the self, yeah.
To achieve the destiny that each one of you came here to experience then. But they are not miracles. It is just thought so here in this construct because not everyone can do it. Even still, are not the Olympic athletes more revered? Are your TV and movie stars sometimes more revered because of their notoriety? Are those with money sometimes more revered because of their moreness than others? You see? And I tell you that it is your own expansion of your particular soul in this evolution to the point where your awareness is able to interact very normally with those energies and entities outside of the third dimension. I tell you, that is what is normal. And what if everybody on the planet could define what the new normal is then? You see?
I can only wish.
That would be humans all over the planet expanding their awareness, each of them harnessing the creative force and energy of all that is, connecting then with the assistance and assets of the universe. For what reason? To have fun here. That is your divine destiny, you understand. To evolve, to have the most joyous experience you can here, to have fun, to laugh. And you're thinking, what? To develop the level of my consciousness into an awareness that can regularly interact with energies and entities outside of the third dimension, just and only so I can have fun? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That is your divine journey. More fun, more love. You understand? And experiencing love in only the unique ways that you wanted to, from the point of view, from the fractal of oneness that you are. Yes? Which, of course, expands the collective consciousness, which, of course, expands the universe. Just you, one. And so there is a normal and there is a reverence, but it is not for the things that your culture has designed and structured. It is normal for your multidimensional aspects of your mind, body, soul complex to regularly interact with higher frequencies outside of the third dimension, to regularly interact with entities that are vibrating at what you call a stronger field of energy, say, than you are at this moment, which does not mean that you are less than at all. It just means that the particular journey you're having in this density means that you are transmitting energy differently than those in other dimensions. Yes, you understand this?
Yes.
Okay, not less than, differently. Questions or comments? And that is what is normal for humanity. That is the ascension. That is the ascension of the race, you see. You understand?
And that's what many, I'll say us, many of us are aspiring to in our thoughts of our future past, as you described in your previous channel. Yeah.
Yes, your future past. Your future past, where everyone is able to channel, where everyone has the ability. There was an interesting conversation I will share with you that Michael was having with Michelle. Shall I share?
Please.
They were pontificating ascension and the theories of ascension of the race globally, regarding some of the theories that have said that it will take another couple of 100 years. You have heard such theories?
Yes.
And Michael raised a very good point. And being new to the awakened condition, it was a beautiful point. And although I will say it and translate it in my terms, this, of course, is not exactly the way that he said it, howsoever. If we are the creators, we meaning as the human that he was referring to, yes, in the conversation, he remarks, if we are the creators of our own reality, and if we are powerful, multi-dimensional mind, body, spirit complexes, harnessing the power of all that is for the purposes of being able to create experiences in a reality that are most fulfilling, yes?
Yes.
And if all of this is true, then why the 200 years? Now, that's a good question, is it not? For it is a form, in his interpretation, it is a form of limitation, is it not? For if humans are masterful and can create with the energy of creation itself, can they not then, using the guidance that has been gifted to humanity over the decades, can a person then, one person, not the whole world, the question was this, can one person evolve and expand to the reality where that ascension process has already occurred? For if there are others who have already been ruminating and focusing their present moments of power on this eventual ascension, yes, then by definition, it already exists in a probable reality, does it not?
Yes, simultaneously.
And if it exists simultaneously in a probable reality, cannot a human move to that reality from a quantum perspective?
Absolutely.
Cannot one move into the reality where ascension has already occurred?
Yes. Yes.
And explain why you believe the answer is yes.
Because in order to have that realization, I mean, it's a proof. In order to have that realization that exists, I'm experiencing the memory from another reality that's already happened, where that is the world, and that's our state. Right?
So the same could be said as true for those embroiled in the discussions of what is termed right now in your time and space as disclosure. Yes?
I see.
With all of the people that have focused all of their present moments of power on the belief, the idea, then the thoughts that humanity will eventually, through certain levels of disclosure and so on and so forth, move into a reality where it is commonplace to interact with beings who do not reside on Earth, like Star Trek. Yes? Where there is a cohesiveness, where there are beings that already interact with each other. You understand that just the fact that the conversations have occurred means the realities exist from a quantum perspective. Yes?
Yes, and I actually
if that is true, then is it not possible for a human, utilizing his multidimensional manifesting abilities, the ability to move from one reality to another, which all of you do anyway in the course of your days, yes? Could not the human that is desirous of experiencing the world where that paradigm already exists not move into that reality? And the question begs the examination on what realities do humans believe are not possible to move into, and which ones are. And the very bifurcation of the thought itself is limiting. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. That world already exists, where the humanity on Earth is interacting lovingly with the assistance of other beings in the universe. The reality of the Earth already exists, where humanity has ascended. And isn't it interesting? Let us query you. How many conversations have you had or have you witnessed? How many conversations have come into your awareness that want to discuss the strategies of moving from a quantum perspective into that reality now, as opposed to waiting 200 years? For the unlimited multidimensional being that you are right now has that capacity. You understand? Yes. But how many podcasts have you heard talk about it? How many YouTube videos have you heard review that? I ask you for the answer.
It seems as though the realities here all are limited in the concept that does not exist currently.
And yet you understand why it must be so. Yes?
Yes.
If you believe that
right.
Time moves more in a simultaneous nature, as you understand it, outside of the third dimension, with the third dimension, you can only move forward in time, yes? But outside of the fourth dimension, then time moves very differently, yes? And if that is so, that a probable reality is created from the power of one thought, then does not that reality exist right now, where humanity has already ascended? Which begs the question, why is there a limited discussion on that?
And why am I still here?
And so you begin to understand.
Yes.
I hope I have answered your question.
With great fun and excitement. Thank you.
Indeed, you're welcome.